If you're a Samsung fan, we have huge news today that could affect your future buying decisions when it comes to Samsung phones. There's a lot to cover, so I'm going to jump right into it. But basically, Android Authority has found evidence to suggest that next year with the Galaxy S26 series, Samsung could be drastically changing the types of phones that it offers within the lineup. So as a quick history lesson, for the past 5 years or so, Samsung has kept to a regular cadence with its smartphone launches. There's been a vanilla Galaxy S, there's been a Plus version, and then there's been an Ultra version. Samsung threw a tiny bit of a curveball this year by launching the Galaxy S25 Edge, which is super thin, about the same size as the Galaxy S25 Galaxy S25 Plus, brings over some of the professional photography capabilities of the Ultra, and is generally just a weird in-between phone. But yeah, it looks like next year things could be quite different. So over here on this article, which I'll link down into the description so you can read it for yourself, we say that there's an exclusive that the Galaxy S26 series could represent a major shakeup in Samsung's flagship lineup. I will let you read the article for yourself, but it's really interesting. Basically, we went into a leaked build of One UI 8 and found evidence of what phones Samsung has in the pipeline for next year. Now, whenever we've done this in the past, it's been pretty reliable. There's been the vanilla, there's been the Plus, and there's been the Ultra. This year, though, things are a little different. And over here, you can see that we have the code here referencing a Galaxy S26 Pro already off the bat. That's weird because there's never been a Galaxy S Pro before. And then we have the Galaxy S26 Edge. Okay, that's a little disappointing because the Galaxy S25 Edge wasn't exactly the hit that Samsung hoped it would be and hasn't really been received by fans as well as maybe Samsung had hoped. So, but whatever, S26 Edge, and then S26 Ultra, which is a given because that's the most popular phone in the lineup. So of course Samsung's gonna do that again. But that's it. That's all the phones we found. Now, normally we would find the Galaxy S26 and the Galaxy S26 Plus, but they are curiously absent from this information. Now, what does this mean? Previously, in previous One UI builds that we've dissected, we've always found the S20, or the S and the S Plus. The fact that they're not here might suggest that Samsung isn't planning on launching them and instead going to go with an S26 Pro, the S26 Edge, and the S26 Ultra. So this is really interesting, and it seems wild. You know, it seems like Samsung has lost its mind, but when you look at it and you look at the competition, it really does make a lot of sense. So first, let me talk about Google and talk about Apple. Those are the two biggest competitors that Samsung has, at least here in the United States. So Apple, you have an iPhone, you have an iPhone Plus, you have an iPhone Pro, and then you have an iPhone Pro Max, okay? The iPhone and the iPhone Pro, generally the same size, but the Pro model has better cameras, better specs, better build quality, all that. Google, similar thing. Google Pixel 9, Pixel 9 Pro, Pixel 9 Pro XL, with the Pixel 9 and the Pixel 9 Pro being generally the same size, but the Pro model having better camera, better specs, better build. So really, Samsung is the oddball out here because Samsung has the Galaxy S25, a larger Galaxy S25 Plus, and then the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and now the Edge, which is not really Pro, but also not really, doesn't really fit in there as snugly as we see with the Google and the iPhone lineup. So what really we think is happening here is Samsung has decided that it's going to start more adequately competing with the iPhone and with Google with the upcoming Galaxy S26 series. And I want to point out, this is me tooting my own horn a little bit. I want to point out that last year I made a video, I wrote an article about how I think Samsung needs to do this. This was done before the Galaxy S25 series had launched, so I was speculating quite a bit, but obviously it didn't come to pass. But it is pretty interesting that now the rumors are here that's saying that Samsung is thinking about doing this in 2026. So I'm going to play you a quick clip here. So this is just what we sort of made, like this composite thing. So obviously this was made before the Galaxy S25 series existed. So you'll have to forgive that we're using leaked renders here. But yeah, you can see that we have the Galaxy S25, S25 Plus, and S25 Ultra. So what we imagined at the time making this video is, what if Samsung had something that was not quite the Ultra, but also better than the Plus. And we imagine that as the Galaxy S25 Pro. So what could possibly be happening here is Samsung could be getting rid of this one and then replacing this one with the Edge and then making this one. So then you'd have the Edge, the Pro, and the Ultra. Conversely, it could be that Samsung's getting rid of these two, is going to make the Edge be like, you know, the mid-tier option, and then having this Pro model be this one. So it'd be a small phone that has a lot of professional capabilities to it, more than what we see in the vanilla Galaxy S25 right now. And then after that, you'd have the Edge, which would be your bigger, sort of thinner, stranger, more middle-of-the-road phone, and then you'd have the Ultra. Either way, it represents a huge, huge shift for Samsung because it's been doing the same thing for so long, and now it's changing things up, or at least we have evidence to suggest that that's what it is going to do. Interestingly, I want to point this out, is that the code name given to this lineup is Paradigm. And it used to be that it was going to be Next Paradigm, but now it appears that it's just going to be Paradigm. And so even the code name itself references this paradigm shift that we could be seeing from Samsung. So little tidbit there. Down here, we have a poll running, and obviously you can see that there's not too many votes yet, but I'm hoping that'll change. I'm hoping you guys will visit Android Authority and vote on this so we can hear what you think. But you can see that most people are sort of holding out. They're saying, I'm not sure yet. It depends on specs and pricing. Not really sure how to feel about this potential shift. But then the second highest category is this one, which is that they're excited, change is good, I'm curious to see what they do. And the lowest, the one with the least amount of votes, is that they think that this is a terrible move and they should just keep it with the Standard, Plus, and the Ultra. So interesting results so far. Once again, we're hoping for more votes, so go ahead and go there and make sure that you sound off, especially if you're a Samsung fan. We want to hear what you have to say, comment, all that kind of stuff. But this is an interesting move, and one that I personally feel like is the right one. My daily driver is the Pixel 9 Pro. And the reason that this phone works so well for me is because of its size. It's small, but still has all the pro features that I need from a professional level phone. And that just doesn't exist in the Samsung world. So I'm really hoping that Samsung can make something that's competitive against this. Because right now, if I decided I didn't want to be on the Pixel and instead wanted to be on Galaxy, I don't really have a choice of where to go. I either need to get something massive like the Galaxy S25 Ultra, or go with a little bit weaker of a phone with the Galaxy S25, which has ancient camera hardware, you know, a terrible non-periscope telephoto, you know, build quality that's not as good. So I'd have to make a lot of sacrifices to go down. So I really hope that what Samsung is envisioning here with its S26 Pro ends up being this. But Samsung. Like, that's what I'm hoping, because then that would make it so iPhone users who maybe want to jump to Galaxy but don't want to get a massive phone, and Pixel users who maybe want to go to Galaxy but also don't want to have to get a massive phone or a smaller phone with weaker specs, have a thing to go for. So I'm really hoping that that's what this means. Unfortunately, we don't have enough evidence yet to suggest what Samsung is really planning here, but I think it's really validating that I made this video last year and now we have evidence to suggest that Samsung is actually going to do this. We just have to wait and see how this looks for the lineup. So I want to know what you guys think. Be sure to jump down in the comments. Please go to the Android Authority article and comment. And if you want to know more about what I think about this phone and the Pixel lineup in general, I actually have a brand new channel now that's all about what I think about things. It's called my name, it's C. Scott Brown. So go to YouTube, search for C. Scott Brown, or even check the link down in the description and I'll link to the channel there. Like, subscribe, check out the new videos. I just posted a video today about my favorite Pixel exclusive features that most people don't really know about. So interesting stuff. I highly recommend going and check that out. And yeah, I will see you guys later.